I'm Alfie.
And I'm Alessia, and welcome to the BBC Score Report live from St Thomas More.
Today's headlines include
cyberbullying around the UK,
the tragic death of Stephen Hawking, and the Iceland trip.
The 88% rise of children's use of technology has seen social media take over as parents. Now the detrimental effects of cyberbullying are becoming apparent. The Duke of Cambridge, alongside musicians such as the Vamps, as well as internet sensations Daniel Howell and Jodie Clark, have initiated a campaign called Stop Speak Support, where teens can access the website to see tips and advice on how to deal with cyberbullying. Let's see how our school is dealing with this.
Morning, Susanna.
When you're ready.
Do students commonly come to talk to you about their experience of cyberbullying, or do you feel as if social media is taking over that role?
Some people come because they realise it's important to talk. I do feel, however, that peer pressure means that a lot of people don't report it. They suffer in silence, unfortunately, and that peer pressure also creates a climate of fear. And all it means is that people will continue being bullied because they're too scared to speak out. And it's sad that they don't speak out.
What advice would you give to somebody suffering personally who's afraid to speak out?
I would say that it is always right for someone to come forward because it's the best thing that a person can do.
Well, obviously, they're tough to speak out if they're worried about it. But if you feel comfortable speaking to a friend, or if you're close to your mum or your dad or any guardian, speak to them. But if you're getting cyberbullied on a website, specifically where you're being cyberbullied, there would always, I think, be a report button or a button where you can go for help or something.
Personally, I would feel more comfortable speaking to someone in real life because you know who you're talking to, and you can see how they're reacting to what you're saying.
Okay, thank you. Remember, there are always places to go and people to speak to online, in real life, such as this campaign. Now back to the studio.
Thank you, Susanna. It's becoming more and more important to raise awareness for issues such as this as social media becomes a larger part of people's lives at a younger age.
Now, over 250 bottles of water brought in countries around the world contain microbits of plastic. Over to Santina for more information.
Thanks, Alfie. We could even be selling this mischievous plastic-filled water in this very school here, and we don't even know it. Bottles of water are more deceiving than they look. So deceiving, in fact, that 8 million tonnes of plastic, the equivalent of 2,600 Boeing planes, are swept into our seas, and they're even being found in polar ice blocks. Today I'm here with Simran and Miss Coe to talk about this problem and what we're doing in school to go towards this cause.
So we started going to, I was invited to speak with Student Voice, and they've asked me to see what can we do. And so a very easy thing for us to do was to just get rid of the straws, because I can drink those drinks, I don't need a straw. It doesn't cause anybody any harm. And we are now going to look into the pasta pots and the plastic cutlery. I don't think we need either of those, and it's for each and every one of us to do a tiny bit. I think we will be okay.
Do you think banning the straws will help the school in the long term?
Yes, I think it will look nicer because they're not on the floor and I don't like the mess. And if we can do a tiny bit for the environment, I think we will do well. I personally believe that you don't make big changes, you make lots of little changes. And if every one of us has one less piece of plastic, that's 7 billion less pieces of plastic in the world. I think that can only be a good thing.
We also asked some teachers to try going without plastic for a week and to discuss the challenges that they face with that task. So we could look into things that were perhaps easier and that we could get rid of in the long term, and perhaps things that were harder, and maybe look at solutions to overcome those.
Alfie, did you know that yesterday was Pie Day?
Oh, I like pie.
Not that kind of pie. Now let's go over to Tyrone to see what this day is really all about.
On the 14th of March 2018, it was the 30th anniversary of Pi Day. The day celebrates the mathematical constant pi, and here to tell us more about it is Miss Doran and her class. Guys, do you know what pi is? 3.14! Miss, why do you think pi is to be celebrated?
Pi is to be celebrated because it is everywhere in nature. So we use it in our maths classroom when we're doing anything with geometry or trigonometry. But actually when we look more closely at pi, we can see that it exists everywhere in nature. So it's an irrational number, so decimal places go on forever. It doesn't follow any sequence. So every single combination and permutation of numbers possible will exist within pi. So you can find your phone number in pi, you can find your date of birth in pi.
We heard that in order to celebrate today, there's a challenge open to all students. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, of course I can. Tomorrow, Friday, we are running a Pi B challenge, very similar to a spelling bee. The fact is that you've got to memorise as many digits of pi as possible. Top 5 entries get a prize. So just a really nice little thing to do.
Yesterday, some Year 8 students got a chance to attend the Big Bang Fair in Luton, NEC. It was aimed to inspire students aged 7 to 19 to take up more activities in STEM and science areas, especially girls. There were theatre shows, career talks and scientists and engineers, and best of all, it was free. Let's see how they got on.
Okay. What was the best part of the trip? I think the best part was like the show, because like the way they showed us like the food and everything, and like the way they like put us like into the show, like the audience communicating with the people.
Probably the going round to like the stores and doing the activities. Are there any interesting facts you learned?
I don't think so, but there was like this theatre that we went to, kind of, and then they had like a show, and then we learned quite a lot from there. They were doing like liquid nitrogen activities and stuff like that.
Are you more interested in science now?
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking died yesterday, aged 76, born January 8th, 1942. Stephen was born exactly 300 years after the death of famous physicist Galileo Galilei. In 1963, Hawking was diagnosed with motor neuron disease and was given 2.5 years to live. However, Hawking outlived this by 53.5 years, surviving and living with this disease for 55 years. Stephen Hawking was a great man. He'll be greatly missed and never forgotten.
Just last month, the Key Stage 4 students had a fantastic opportunity to go and visit Iceland. I myself didn't go. What about you, Alfie?
Yes, I did. The scenery was amazing.
What is your best memory?
When we went to the 2 waterfalls, because the views were so good.
Other than being kept awake every night by Mr. Newman snoring, was sliding down a frozen waterfall on my backside.
Was swimming in the Blue Lagoon and having a strawberry smoothie.
It was when I slipped down the cliff and nearly died. My best memory was seeing the Northern Lights in Iceland.
Was the snow?
It was going up the waterfalls and then seeing all the students falling over on the way up because of the ice.
What was your overall experience?
Well, as always, I really enjoy going to Iceland, but it's really the pupils and the experience that they get that's important to me. And the feedback that I got was good, and they seemed to enjoy it and appreciated going to a different country and experiencing the variety of landforms that they saw and the weather conditions especially.
What was different from the last trip?
Oh, again, definitely the weather. That was much different to last time. It was much colder, much windier, much more snow, and that actually caused us to have to arrange some of our plans on one of the days. But it meant that we got to experience something different as we went to a local swimming pool that we wouldn't have done otherwise. So we got to experience some actual Icelandic pastime rather than just going to the Blue Lagoon, which is a bit touristy in my opinion.
Why should people go to Iceland?
It's an amazing country, something that you don't get to experience here. You've got amazing waterfalls, the volcanoes, the geothermal plant was very interesting, and obviously the Blue Lagoon and the natural spas. The mud pots and the fumaroles we saw, and the black sand beaches, it's just things that you can never see in this country. Unfortunately, this time we didn't get to see the Northern Lights as well as the first time, but obviously that's one of the main attractions of going to Iceland.
Every year, sporting events highlight certain sports while others are left in the shadows. Let's head over to Ben to find out more about this.
The passing of beloved Jim Bowen has once again magnified the dying sports in our nation. Darts, one of the nation's most popular sport, is now one of the least played, along with lacrosse and bowls. The long-time game show host of the show, Bullseye, stole the hearts of the public and will always be remembered for his super smashing, great personality. Today, popular sports that triumph, like football, have taken the attention of classic sports, leaving icons like Jim Bowen to be left in the shadows. UK schools focus heavily on competitive sports like rugby and football. In doing so, many young people today are willing to play sports even with injury. Our reporter Tommy has been speaking to football players from Tommy Moore about their recent victory against Samuel Whitbread.
The biggest match of the year occurred yesterday on the 14th of March for the Year 10 St Thomas More football team. They were up against their rival Samuel Whitbread. It was a long enduring game for the Tommy Moore team, but they came out on top, winning 7-2. The emotions were running high for the team whilst they were celebrating their victory.
Now we're here with a key player of the team, Manny. How did you contribute towards the team's victory, and how did it help your team in the long run?
Well, obviously, yesterday was a very important game for us because the last time we played them, we lost, unfortunately, and we got knocked out of the National Cup. But during the game, I made a couple of saves, but we did as a team, we worked well, and I feel like we just played well as a team yesterday.
What were the struggles you faced during the game, and how did you overcome them?
Well, yesterday I made a couple of mistakes which led them to scoring a goal. But then as the game kept going, Mr. Alex said to me, keep your heads up and forget about the mistakes. So by him saying that to me, that kind of helped me to come over.
Thank you for speaking to us today.
The Oscars were held recently, cited as the biggest night in film entertainment.
I know I was up waiting for my favourite celebrity to see what their outfits were like.
Over to Alessia to see what she thinks.
The 90th Oscars had Los Angeles define modern day dressing, so which outfits topped and flopped? Nicole Kidman stole the show with her stunning bright blue Giorgio Armani gown. Tom Holland, looking ravishing, spun his way into the awards in his smart suit. Other stars who joined the best dressed were Lupita Nyong'o, Gina Rodriguez, Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya. I over to some students to tell us who they think topped the list.
I think the blue dress is the best one because it complements her skin complexion and the slip makes her legs look longer.
I think Zendaya's dress because it fits together really well and complements her skin tone. I think it's Gina's dress because it's really original and complements her figure. Where we have the stunning, we also have the grotesque and slightly questionable choices. Emma Stone's outfit certainly did not glide into La La Land, with many citing it as too casual for the red carpet. And that's it for the Oscars.
And now to a read for the weather.
Overnight, all across the UK, we've been having some very thick clouds, causing heavy precipitation all throughout Thursday. However, we do get to see some sunny spells across some parts of the UK. However, there is forecast to be a storm. Now, you've heard of the beast from the east. Now get ready for the pest from the west, where temperatures will go down all the way to -1 in some parts of the UK. And Sunday, it gets much, much colder with gushy winds pushing across the UK. However, by Monday, we will get the average temperature of March, which is around 10 degrees.
Thanks for watching. I'm Alfie.
And I'm Alessia.
This has been St Thomas More for the BBC.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.